now. So just in summary, the things I heard that we want to do for this release are finish the buck build, get to a point of documentation and agreed design for intent domains, have virtual network intent-based providers available, have some portion of Google RPC started working so that we can really get our first level of feedback on its design and implementation, get Kafka working to some level, the community survey actions from David, deployments from Luca, and then a set of critical bugs. Is there anything that's missing in that list?
I think there will continue to be need for additional tooling around the project just to support deployments and support debugging and testability. But I think that's a continuous improvement type work.
Okay.
It just needs to be budgeted in, just like documentation.
Okay, good. So we need to create a sprint. All right, next.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, one more thing also, Bill.
Yeah.
Maybe make sure that we provide any support for Changhoon to fix the 1.6 ONOS secure ONOS.
So Changhoon has some support that's needed for secure mode?
I don't know if he does. Maybe he doesn't. But if he does, then we may need to make sure that's something we may need to at least keep an eye on.
Okay. All right. So shall I go through epic by epic, I guess, and find these things, or do you want to direct me to them? How about buck build finish?
Yeah, let's start with the buck build. Yeah.
Is that in platform?
So I think there's anything for that. I'm looking through the bugs here. So we need to do the bug. So I'm gonna drag the Java docs into the sprint. I'm gonna also add the Swagger target, which is the API docs, REST API docs. Which sprint did we create? What did we call it?
Actually, it's called GoldenEye Green Sprint 5. Do you want me to rename it?
Yeah, we should rename it.
All right, so Hummingbird Sprint 1. Is that okay?
That's perfect, yes.
Okay.
So I think we need to take care of the Java docs and bug, and also to resolve the transitive dependencies for bug.
Okay.
For this,
are you able to drive, Thomas? It might be more efficient.
Yeah, sure. Let me. Can you pass me the control? Okay. You can see my screen, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So this the resolve transitive dependencies for bug is really kind of a high order item. I just not sure how much whether I can really sign up Brian for that in his absence, and it's a fairly big item. So this is something we can probably leave off for another sprint, but in the meantime, we should try to at least build the Java docs, and then to address the Swagger build.
Okay.
And possibly we should also be able to buckify some of the existing applications which will remain in the repository. So, like for example, PSEP. This is something where, and a BGP potentially. This is something that probably Ray should be able to help with a lot of these things.
Are these things we can ask for help from the owners of these areas?
Yes, we should also be able to ask for help we should definitely try to. The thing is, some of them may be a little bit more. Well, we should definitely ask, but at least do a little bit of an investigation. Yeah.
Okay.
I think everything. The Yang, we're not going to bother because Yang repository is going to be moved, and the BMV2 P4 has some complexities already, as a matter of fact, in Maven, and I wouldn't bother with it at this point in time.
Okay.
So I would leave things as they are right now, and there should be enough of items related to bug in this sprint. So I would leave things there.
Okay.
So on virtualization. Now, the thing is, this is the work that's currently done by Brian Stanky and Claudine.
Yep.
And so they're sort of, I don't know if you want to track that as part of the sprint, but they essentially are continuing on the virtual network services implementation. So they've implemented the virtual network services like host, and actually this should already be done right here. I'm not sure why this is not marked done. So I'm going to move it into the sprint, and then maybe ask Brian to see if he can update the status. But he's basically currently working on this item right here, which is implementation of the intent service.
Okay.
So
Would it
I
be
would put
helpful?
these items here.
Okay, so it'd be helpful for me, but I'm wondering if it'll be helpful for other people in the community to have a session on the virtual networking design, the things that you know. I guess your view of what it will be and how it will be put together, and then Brian's view of where we're at and what's going to be done in this release. Can we have a story around bringing the community into that?
Sure. Why don't I create a story for that? Design. Um, okay, I can assign it to me, and okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, story points. I'm gonna give it 3 story points. Sure, that's a good idea. Okay. So that's regarding this. Now, a quick question: when are we considering the sprint to be started? Just out of curiosity, are we back starting it, or
We could
are
go
we?
Monday.
What?
A week ago Monday. So the sprint has started. So I guess here's the question: is we have put a sprint schedule into the planning session that we did. So this sprint would end at the end of next week, and then on the 11th we would start another sprint. So the question is, do we want to stick to that schedule?
Sure. So in that case, yeah, in that case, yeah, this better be a very light sprint because I'm not sure what, for example, I won't be back till next week. I'll basically have just 3 days to do this. So I'm not sure whether actually this is something that can be done next. The design review, I won't be able to do that for next week. Just even organizing the meeting, not never mind preparing for.
So the alternative that I'm fine with is we could just start a 3-week sprint. And since we're here talking about which things are most important, get them into the sprint, get going on it.
That's kind of what I was thinking we should do.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is perfectly fine for me. Which is why I asked the question. So okay. So I think with virtual network I would just leave it like this. And and then maybe give a chance for Brian Stanky to be able to modify the sprint as appropriate.
Okay, yeah, I don't necessarily want to track everything he's doing in the sprint. I was mostly interested in tracking the one that I think is really your responsibility, and that is making sure that the community understands the design, and so getting that out there, reviewing it, and at least getting the community to put check mark on that. Right, the
Okay.
rest of the implementation and how Brian drives it doesn't have to be in our agile process.
Okay, that's fair. Okay. So then on northbound, I guess that would be the intents domain stuff. And so this would be the intent domain documentation. We already have a story for this in here. And so we could probably just cover it using the same mechanism. I would start right here. Okay. And this could be potentially just the initial design review. But I think what Brian had in mind was actually to provide, because this is a little less developed than the virtual network stuff. So we would like to present this in a more malleable format to the community.
Okay.
And maybe develop it also in a format that would invite more academia into the mix. But I think we should start at least with a brief sort of a abstract of the problem and then document what we're going to be trying to solve and at least the general approach.
So do we have a way to describe one of the use cases that we know that we need for this? And can we start with that as well? I mean, I think it's fine to have, here's our view of what we think it's going to look like design-wise, but before we spend too much time talking about that and trying to pull in other people, is there something that we can get started on development?
Yeah. I think so. I think so. Sure, we can probably include, examples of use cases that would benefit from this.
Okay, so we'll need Brian back for that. Okay.
He's coming back next week, right?
Yep.
Okay. But I would just leave it at that for now. Okay. So Madan, is there anything? Okay, so if I were to refresh here and select all issues here. Okay, so we have the GoldenEye green sprint. Is that something that should be moved over to?
So I think
Why do we still have a GoldenEye green sprint? Right?
I don't know.
I thought I deleted that thing.
I thought you did too. But this looks. I honestly don't know.
I don't know. Can you delete it?
Sure. I just wanted to make sure that there were not items that somebody else dragged in here.
But deleting it doesn't delete the issues, right? The issues will still be around. It's just the sprint is gone.
Yeah, but I wonder if this is no, it shouldn't. Yeah, it shouldn't. But I wonder if this is that the error that you saw didn't really delete the sprint.
Oh, so the question is, which of those issues is causing the problem?
Yeah, it would be any one of those that are closed. So. So I'm gonna try to just move these out of here to backlog, okay?
Yep.
And we'll find out which one of them is gonna cause us issues. Well, that was interesting.
They all went. That's great. Okay. You better not complain now. Oh, so it's.
Well, that's really interesting, but I guess we'll deal with that later.
Yep.
Right. So we have bug, we have the intent domains and virtual services documentation. We should probably take care of some of the core and platform related things.
Yeah, so
Is that something that you wanna?
yeah, let's do the Google RPC next.
Yeah, so I don't know if we have a
I don't
story.
think we have a story for that.
Yeah, I think we should
So we
create
should
one.
at least let's start by having a let's first identify which things, which services we should cover, which model
Yeah,
objects, and potentially identify the general approach. Is that all
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
yeah. That seems fine.
Um, is 5 sufficient?
I mean, we can. I think this is a big story which will span multiple sprints, so I think we can give it 5 and limit the
Yeah,
amount of
this
work.
was just but this is just the initial. Basically, it's a small story just to identify the general stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna spend time. So this should be part of core, right? Or should we put it on the platform? What do you think?
It's sort of straddles platform and
Right.
core, so we can pick one.
Okay, I'll just pick core. Okay. Is it something
Yeah.
I could assign to you, Madan, or
Uh,
would
sure. I mean, do
would
that.
you prefer not to, or would you prefer me to own it?
Um, I don't mind actually. So I don't care either way. So, I mean, right now I'm looking at some critical bugs. So if you want to look into it sooner,
Okay,
I think.
that's fine. That's fine. We can figure out the ownership later. Then that's fine. I just want to make sure I give you the choice. Um,
Sure.
so so is there any regression bugs specifically that you want to drag into the sprint because we need to count for those too?
Yeah, yeah. So there is one, it's a critical bug, data loss during scale up. Yeah, 4785. Uh, Potentially affects 1.6. I want to make sure we fix it. 4785.
Okay, there it is, and I'm gonna move that to the top.
Yep. Um, and and there are a few, for example, 4660. Sorry, 4460.
4460.
It's the eighth one from the top, eighth or seventh. Yeah. That is also a functionality slash bug um that you run into when you have a partitioned cluster. Definitely something that needs to be fixed. John is looking into it. I want to make sure, and he's close to finishing it, so I want to make sure we finish this in this sprint.
Okay, sure.
There are a few. I mean, I think I need to take a pass through some of these stories that we just pulled on from GoldenEye. Some of
Mm-hmm.
these are actually probably fixed already, so we need to close them.
That's okay. I think that would be good. We definitely probably also need a bugs scrub.
Yeah, yeah,
And yeah, I think I saw actually an issue in there for doing a scrub, and I think that would be a good idea to do in sometime during this 3 weeks.
Okay, there is one sort of a perpetual item. I'm gonna reuse this one. So there it is, backlog cleanup.
yeah,
I'm gonna move that in the top as well because that's gonna be essential.
yeah.
Um,
So I I made some progress with adding the STC scenarios for distributed primitives. They're not complete yet. I have a story that sort of the goal there is to finish adding scenarios for all primitives that run in cluster mode.
so can I
Uh,
put this one up?
yep.
All right.
Uh, and then there is Kafka related work that Sanjana and Shravan are looking into. I will spend some time with them on that as well.
Is there
So
any
that's
specific?
right now that's being driven by external partner and our intern. Um, so Bill, do you think we should have a story for that as well?
So I would have a story, Martin, for maybe for the things that you're doing with it, just for
Okay.
us to keep track of that.
So
But the
then we can 4645 is something that we want to pull in.
Oh, it's a deep backlog. Okay.
Yeah, I think those should be. Uh, I mean, I think this is a good list. If we finish all of them, we can pull in more. But this is what I'm
Right.
comfortable with.
Okay. Is Ray there, Bill?
Ray is not here, and I think I screwed up and forgot to invite him.
Okay. So I was just wondering if I can assign the bug-related tasks and if you would mind or not. At BGP and PSEP. If maybe what I'm
Yes,
gonna do is just temporarily assign it to him.
please do. Yes, I want him to drive the completion of Buck because I want Brian to be focused on getting the intent domains thing going.
Right. Apparently, it only works on one item. Okay.
Did it demo? It's coming in right now.
Okay. Now I'm gonna leave the Swagger target. That may be a little bit higher complexity. There may be. I'm gonna drop that one lower because there may be it's something we should start looking into, but it'll probably require Brian's help because it's a little bit more involved. And so, again, in terms of priorities, it should fall below the intent domains as you just mentioned. So, okay. So that gives us 62 story points overall. Is there any QA related things? So okay, a couple of things. So it moves us along on the bug front, on the documentation for virtual networks and intent domains, and on the core.
Thomas?
Yes.
I added a few stories for Southbound.
Okay.
A few small things, but things that should be probably addressed. So I mean, you can see them right there in front of you.
Yeah.
If you have any,
Sorry.
if you have any,
I'm
no,
refreshing.
they're right there. You didn't need to refresh.
Okay.
They were there. They were there.
Perfect. Yeah. Sorry.
Um, yeah. So I mean, they're just like the VLAN thing that we probably should fix. The packet requests don't use filtering objectives, which is wrong. So I want to fix that at some point. And and there was an issue reported by Charles about like certain things don't support some of the default stats messages we send down. So we should have a way to disable that. Um,
Yes, I
uh,
see.
and that's it. That's all I wanted to do. It's not very much, but
The question is, my question is, are you going to have enough bandwidth in light of the Core Summit and your trouble and everything else? Is that something that somebody else should take care of, or?
I mean, I didn't. I assigned two of them to me.
Okay.
The last one I didn't assign to me. I'll do my best to do them, but I mean, I think I'll do them. I mean, I'll try and do them. They're not critical things, so they're not on the critical path of everything.
Okay.
So I'll try and do them, but if someone else wants to pick them up, be my guest.
That's fine. I mean, I just wanted to make sure you have the option because I know you're heavily loaded already, but
Yeah.
So your choice. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that's 62 story points. That moves us, I think, fairly well along, fairly evenly on all of the different fronts that we wanted to cover, right?
So we're not quite
Except
done
the
yet.
documentation. Yeah, I go.
So we're not quite done yet. We need to. So David had sent 3 Jira issue numbers.
David?
Yeah, so under maybe they're under the community epic. I'm actually looking for the ones right now. Let's see.
Shall I look under community? There they are. I don't see any.
Yeah, so I've got the numbers 4758.
Okay. 4758. Okay.
So did you pull that one in?
Yep.
Okay. 4461.
4461. Yes.
And 4201.
Okay. So we can certainly put it there, but with okay. Yeah, so the implement module owner v3 features, we should probably consider splitting it, or this was one of the possible options for interns to take more ownership of the not to take more ownership, but to help us develop some of the tooling. And so that'll require Brian's time.
Okay.
So I would leave it towards the bottom if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
The create public roadmap for upcoming ONOS releases. Sure.
Okay. Then there is Lucas. Whatever Luca has in his epic. So can we go to the deployment one?
Mm-hmm. Deployments. Okay. Which ones does he want in there? Do you know?
I actually don't. So maybe we should just wait until Luke is back on Tuesday.
Okay. It would be, if they were in the order, we could just drag them in the order. I'm not sure whether he's, yeah.
Well, certainly could drag in the help on testing ONOS.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was wondering if that one would be fairly safe.
Yep.
And I don't know, this one has been on a burner for a long time, but
yeah, I don't know what the schedule of the other things for like installing VPLS is.
okay. So let's just leave it at this. Okay, about QA.
Yeah, so I think Yo is online. Yo, are there issues that you want to prioritize in this sprint? Yo, you're on mute. Yo, can you hear us? Ah, here we go.
Muted.
You gotta speak up.
Okay, can you hear me?
Nope, speak louder.
Okay, hello?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, so I think we have already created tickets for this sprint, and so the first 8 tickets, I think those are for this sprint. Yes, the ones above the sitting. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So it gives us 100 story points.
Okay.
That seems reasonable.
And you had said that there was something for a secure mode ONOS. Did that one get brought in?
Yep, that's right here.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
The 4308.
Okay. And so glancing at the rest of the epics on the other side, is there any area that we didn't look at that we should have?
UI.
Ah, good catch, actually. Yes.
So here, I was hoping that we would. So there's probably a couple of different fronts that Simon wants to continue working. First of all, with Monique to be able to continue the skinning effort. But I would like him to return back to start implementing the server-side topology modeling. So I'm going to drag this one back in.
Okay.
And that's going to be in support of the client-side region-aware topology view. I'm not sure I should drag that one in just yet. Even though that's currently assigned to Stephen Burrows, and I know that Simon wants to work with him. So right now I'm just going to leave this out and just leave the server-side topology modeling here.
Okay. Who's Stephen?
He's from UK, I forget where he's exactly from which company.
Okay.
But he's an external contributor. He's very, very sharp, seems to be doing really nice, clean work in the UI, and seems to be very enthusiastic. So, so both Simon and I want to make sure we keep him engaged and give him interesting things to work on.
Okay. Excellent. And Ray has joined us now, so I wanted to just let Ray know that we had put his name on driving the buck changes that we're going to be doing in this sprint.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's the important bits are IDE integration, Swagger, and finishing off the apps that we didn't get around to. Were there any others that showed up, and did all of those three show up?
Well, we have the Java docs. We have BGP and PSEP as two specific applications. So maybe we can use these as umbrellas, generic umbrellas for the rest of the apps. I left Yang out on purpose because Yang is going to be moving into its own repo and may not require being buckified.
Mm-hmm.
The Swagger stuff should be there, but right now I did not assign it to you because I figured that's something that will probably require consult from Brian.
Yes, probably true. What about Carmelo's?
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Carmelo's stuff also has sort of an odd way of being built, multi-stage.
I left it out on purpose. I left it out on purpose for right now, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit weird to begin with, and I don't think it's necessarily critical yet.
Okay.
We can deal with that a little bit later. I wanted to make sure that we can always drag things in if you finish these.
Sure.
Right, so how does everybody feel about this? Is there anybody who's underutilized or without anything to do?
Not that I know of.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, at least in terms of what's on the sprint, I'm not meaning in real life.
Yeah.
I mean in terms of what's in the sprint. Is there work that people are doing that's not accounted for in here, right? Yeah, I'm sure there is, but in terms of, I guess, in trying to make sure that our documented priorities are aligned with our actual priorities, would be a good idea to have some correspondence between the work we do and the work that's on this.
Oh, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Really what I meant.
Yeah, I hope nobody's just kind of nodding their head to these issues and then going off and working on something else.
Well, Thomas, I do want to bring something up. I have been spending time, you know this, for weeks off and on, trying to get more STC scenarios in and to get STC more reliable. do we still see that as important? Do we need to sort of document any of that? Where do you want to go with that?
Well, clearly there's still some intermittent issues, and it would be nice to be able to get to the bottom of them, for sure. I'm just not sure relative to other things, whether that's where you should be burning your time.
Well, it doesn't have to be me, right? I mean, it's just sort of at a meta level. You know, I personally think this is really important. DOA bill
Okay.
drive me crazy, but you know, there's an investment required for that.
So, do we need to have an investigation item?
That's my question. Do we need to make a story for this or something?
Sure. So, they may be pointing to underlying issues. How many story points would you give it? This could be time box, right? So,
I would suggest that. In terms of story points, since we don't really know what the issues are, so we do know one thing, which maybe we'll discuss offline, but I'll just plant this in your ear. Using wipeout, which we use a lot in STC, messes up the logic in a lot of the components. So that's something we might want to consider as an actual task to figure out how to make wipeout reliable. That will, I think, make a lot of the STC stuff smoother.
I see. So 5, 3, 5, 8.
5.
Okay. I'm not gonna supply description yet, but this would be on platform.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's similar to Buck and the other sort of project-wide activities.
Okay. Do you want me to assign that to you, or who should I give it to?
Sure. I'll bug you about it next time you're in. We'll brainstorm about why things are the way they are.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so that brings us to a total of 120. Nice round number.
Yeah, looks good.
All right, let's leave it at that. Is that all right?
Yeah, I think so.
I would like for once to kind of give us not to cram this too much and figure out what we can do. We try to stick with these, and then you know, clearly, if you finish them, then we can. I would suggest that we follow the following process. If you finish the things that we are working on and the individual is working on, then figure out who else needs help in the sprint to make sure that things that are in the sprint get done first. And only if you find that there's items that nobody really needs help with, that they're in full control or, you know, not in high risk of being not met, then we can pull other stuff in.
So
is that right?
So Thomas, that's normally done in stand-ups, right? And so my question is, I mean, we have a pretty small core of people now that are working around this set of issues, right? It's definitely 10 or under.
Yes.
Can we have stand-ups at least a couple of times a week to look at what is done, what's next, and how people can help each other?
Yes, we should. Yep. I'll schedule sometimes, and probably it's gonna be right before lunch.
Mm-hmm.
At 11:45. That'll keep it short and make sure that everybody can be there. All right.
Yep. Perfect.
I'll put them on a calendar. Okay.
All right. So thanks for adding this to your day over there in Europe.
No problem. Ali, I think, has to punch out because he has another meeting, so he may already be gone.
Meeting in quotes.
No. I mean, he has 3 meetings.
No, I know he does. I know he does. I'm just kidding.
Bill's just breaking it.
Yeah. Well.
Hey, Bill, I heard you.
I'm just jealous.
When I come in, when I come back, I'll come and get you.
Yeah.
But no,
And you
yeah,
go
I gotta go.
meeting together?
I gotta go because
Okay. See you later, Ali.
I actually have 3 more meetings today, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
I know you guys are busy, so appreciate it.
No worries. Cheerio.
Yep. See ya. Thomas, thanks for driving this.
No problem. So you can stop the recording, or do I need to do this? You can do it right from